Welcome, everyone. Give it maybe one more minute for a few more to trickle in, and then we'll get started. All right, let's get started. Good morning, or good afternoon, good evening. There may be people joining from across the globe today, so thank you for being here and taking time to learn more about how to solve data quality issues for self-service analytics using AI. Today's webinar is hosted by a Katie Power team. I'm Katie Gates, Customer Success Manager at APERIO, and I'm joined by Katie Pintar, Senior Analytics Engineer at Seeq. We're excited to showcase the combined AI capabilities of APERIO and Seeq that will empower you to spend less time preparing data and more time analyzing it. Today's presentation will include an introduction to both APERIO and Seeq, in case you're not already familiar with our companies and products. And we'll follow that up with a demo of our integration, APERIO DataWise for Seeq. We'll save time for questions at the end. Feel free to drop them in the Q&A feature in today's webinar, and we'll address them all at the end of the presentation. All right, I'm very pleased to introduce APERIO to you all. APERIO was founded in 2017, and although headquartered in Boston, Massachusetts, we have a team of over 25 full-time employees that work remotely across the US, Europe, and the Middle East. Our small but mighty team has a wealth of experience with industrial data at some of the companies you may be familiar with here on the screen, including our very great partner, Seeq. APERIO has customers in a number of industries, including oil and gas, utilities, mining materials, pulp and paper, manufacturing. And with these customer partnerships and the support of our investors in our recent Series A1 funding round, the APERIO team and DataWise product capabilities are continuing to grow. You may be wondering, how can I benefit from APERIO DataWise? Well, it benefits stakeholders across the enterprise, so hopefully you identify with one of these roles. DataWise identifies data issues proactively and at scale to help data owners maintain the quality of their historians that serve users across the business. Data users can verify the quality of their data sets at a glance using DataWise to increase accuracy of their reports and analytics, and ultimately leading to increased confidence in data-driven decisions. DataWise detects data issues across the full range of your data architecture, starting with the sensor and continuing up through your cloud database if you have one. DataWise engines are unsupervised machine learning algorithms that detect different types of data anomalies. Each engine that you see here, bad values through consistency, trains a model on historical data for each tag or channel, as we call them in DataWise, that you're monitoring. The type of anomaly each engine detects points to where in your data architecture the issue may have originated, so that you can take action to fix or mitigate it. For example, the noise distribution engine may create an event that indicates an issue with the sensor circuitry or mechanical failure of the sensor, depending on whether the noise is increased or decreased. The anomalies detected by APERIO DataWise engines are periods of poor data we call data quality events, or DQEs. DQEs have a start and end time and map to Seeq as capsules. Data users can use these to efficiently identify what data should be removed or cleansed before performing analytics or assembling reports. And DQE factor into a summary metric called Data Quality Index, or DQI. This indicates the percentage of time that your data is healthy. This metric is calculated for every channel and can be rolled up to report data quality of any group of channels defined either by your data hierarchy or defined by the user over a specified time range. Managers can use this metric as a KPI to improve and maintain the quality of their data. Now I'll pass the presentation along to Katie Pintar to introduce Seeq.
Great, thanks, Katie. So let's talk a little bit about Seeq and why we're partnered with APERIO. So first off, Seeq has over 260 customers, and we have really deep industry experience across many different industries. So here's a sampling of some of those customers across those industries that are using Seeq to get the most out of their manufacturing and operational data. What we do at Seeq is we enable your transformation with our purpose-built time series data analytics and AI suite. So our customers are harnessing Seeq and their data to achieve their goals in sustainability, in driving operational excellence, and also empowering their workforce. So how do we do that? So Seeq is an advanced analytics and AI application and platform. We provide a place to access all of your data on demand and empower your subject matter experts to do self-service analytics and collaborate across teams and across plants and across your enterprise. Our platform is cloud native and extensible, enterprise ready, so that you can get instant ROI across your business. Here's a couple of those outcomes across some of our customers. For example, Abbott was able to reduce their wastewater generated by 4%. Chevron Phillips Chemical started having better data-driven decisions to reduce their quality losses and increase productivity, which meant they were able to get 100 times their ROI in the first 3 months of using Seeq. And then Honeywell UOP was able to increase their employee productivity equivalent to $1.5 million a year. And those are just a couple of our publicly available use cases. So why are we partnered with APERIO? Well, Seeq allows you to connect to your data sources on demand and do advanced analytics on that data to provide insights. But those analytics are only as good as the data quality underneath. So that's why we're partnered with APERIO. APERIO gives that extra context with their data quality events and data quality index so that you know that your data is good or you know that it's not good and you can mitigate that in Seeq.
Okay, thanks for that introduction, Katie. Now we'll launch into a demonstration. All right, as a PI administrator, or really administrator of any time series data store, I monitor the quality of my data using APERIO's portal overview shown here. It displays a tree map organized by the configured hierarchy of my data. From here, I can easily identify where there may be data quality issues in my system, whether at the interface level or at the site level or asset level, indicated by the data quality index or DQI. Anything below my 90% target DQI is highlighted in red. The Houston refinery immediately catches my attention. Its DQI of 69.4 falls far below my 90% target. Let's drill down a level to see if there's a particular asset driving my DQI down. In this case, it looks like we have data issues across the refinery. Let's take a look at the underlying channels at the Houston refinery for more details. From the channels timeline view shown here, I can see data quality events across all my channels at the Houston refinery, color-coded by engine. Scrolling through, I quickly see a concurrent no data event across the majority of my channels. Expanding one of these channels, I can see a bit more detail. It looks like there may have been a network outage from the 5th to the 10th of September, causing this no data event. I'm going to go back and check my network health to see what could have caused this interruption in service. Before I do that, however, I notice that there's another type of data quality event a flat line for my yield calculation. It started around the same time. It's ongoing. Looks like perhaps my calculation failed to restart after the network interruption. The Houston plant manager reports on yield. She'll be notified of this data quality event because APERIO DataWise for Seeq makes data quality events available in Seeq as capsules for monitoring and triage in Seeq Vantage. I'll add a note there to make sure the plant team knows that we're taking action to restart the PyAnalysis service and backfill the calculation data. And now Katie will share how the plant team will mitigate the data quality event.
All right. So as Katie Gates mentioned, she and her team have already notified our team through Seeq Vantage that they know there's a flat line and they're restarting that service so that I'll have better data soon. However, I still have a report due at the end of the quarter. So I want to make sure that my data is good or at least more representative than the current flat line that I have. Here's an example of that report in Seeq Organizer, which is where we can organize different analyses, tables, charts, all in one place and have them auto-update on a schedule. You can see right away that I have a couple of weeks where my yield is the same value, so I'm a little suspicious already. I knew there was a flat line, and indeed it's showing up here as a flat line. And if I scroll down even farther where I have my APERIO DataWise data quality check, you can see I have a table looking at the different capsules coming in around my data quality, and I can sort and see I actually have a high severity flat line that I need to look into a little further. Over here on the right, you can see I have a trend with that capsule and that information, that context with that capsule on that flat line, the severity, and when it started and when it ended. So I'm going to use this to actually mitigate that issue in Seeq. So let's jump into that analysis. By just clicking on that trend, I'm able to open up Seeq Workbench. And I'm going to go ahead and edit this report so that I can mitigate that and create a better table for my upcoming report. So here you can see, again, that trend, that flat line, and that data quality event coming from APERIO DataWise. What I'm going to do is first ask our Seeq AI assistant, how could I mitigate this period of bad data? I'm going to open up the Seeq AI assistant and use the general assistant to understand what I can do with this bad data and how I can mitigate this in my report. You can see it identifies a couple of different steps I can do for this report. First, identify bad data periods. Next, remove that bad data, fill those gaps, and then clean up any unnecessary items or tables associated with that report. So let's start at the beginning, identifying bad data periods. Well, with APERIO DataWise, we've already identified those bad data periods. So we can step to that next step, removing data during the bad data condition. Let's go ahead and give that a try. I'm going to actually do this in Seeq AI Assistant. I could also do this using point and click tools here in the Seeq Workbench, but we're going to start with the Seeq AI Assistant to see if it can do this for me. I'm going to go ahead and use the Actions Assistant and ask it to actually remove data during that bad data condition. Now, the Seeq AI Assistant is trained on large language models and also on industrial analytics and Seeq analytics in general. So it knows how to do some of these different calculations and analytics in Seeq and can actually do them for me. You can see it thought about it and it created a new action. So let's check out what it created. Here you can see a new cleaned ODS yield, and let's look at what that is. So if I look at this new signal, you can see it removed those periods of bad data. Great. Now what we can do is replace those periods of bad data with our soft sensor. I'm actually going to go and find that soft sensor. I know I've created one for yield in the past, so I'm going to go find that from my data tab. So let's look for my yield soft sensor, and I can see that right here. So I'll click on that to bring that onto the screen. Great, I have my soft sensor. Now I just want to fill in that data with that soft sensor. In this case, I'm actually just going to click on a journal link, which allows me to save a breadcrumb trail of my analysis in Seeq. So I'm going to click on this to find my final analysis, which is that repaired yield here. And now you can see I have my signal with my good data, and then I have that signal with my soft sensor where I filled in those bad data gaps over that APERIO DataWise capsule that's alerting me to those bad data. Now, with that repaired signal, I can go back to my monthly report, and I'm actually going to create a repaired report where I've taken that signal using that soft sensor and reported on that good data, so that soft sensor data here. So you can see here, I now have some more accurate data during that time period where we had that flat line. And you can see also kind of the history of that actual yield, what that's giving, and then also where we removed that data, just to give a little bit more context to what that soft sensor and repaired data is doing. Now, with Seeq and bringing those capsules in, those data quality events and data quality index from APERIO DataWise, you saw that on one signal, but you're probably monitoring more than just one signal with APERIO DataWise. You're probably monitoring many, many signals, hundreds to thousands of signals. So keeping track of all those capsules and knowing what is the highest priority is probably a challenge. And that's where Seeq Vantage comes in. So Seeq Vantage is one of our newest industrial enterprise monitoring applications. And that's where we can begin to mitigate and track and understand what the highest priority is for us to use Seeq to mitigate those issues. And here's a little bit of a visual of what that industrial enterprise monitoring workflow looks like. So you can see in the bottom left, Seeq Workbench and Seeq Organizer, that's where you can do those self-service analytics. And we're bringing those APERIO DataWise events into Seeq at that level. We're also bringing them up into Seeq Vantage, where we can see those capsules and triage them, investigate them, leave notes, like Katie Gates mentioned at the beginning as a Pi Data admin. They're working on this, and we can begin to collaborate across the enterprise using Seeq Vantage. And then with APERIO providing that extra context, we can begin to improve our analytics across the enterprise.
Awesome. Thank you, Katie, for the great example of how to mitigate data quality issues identified by APERIO DataWise using Seeq, and explaining how APERIO fits into the broader industrial enterprise monitoring workflow. Seeq and APERIO are certainly better together, and I hope everyone now understands how APERIO can add that data quality stamp of approval to analyses and reports. And now we'll have some time for questions. Thanks again for joining us. I see a couple already in the chat.
Hello, Katie's. This is Brian Crandall. I'm on the sales team here at APERIO, and I'll be the random voice reading the questions to you today. And if there's questions about or follow-ups from my Seeq colleagues, I'm happy to pass that on to our Seeq partners as well. First question is, this is a APERIO question. Which historians does APERIO monitor? Katie Gates.
Sure, yeah, APERIO can monitor any time series database. Current customers are monitoring data in Pi, Canary, and ADX. So if you have any questions about a specific data historian, please reach out and we can address that.
Very good. Next one is another APERIO question. How do I see APERIO DQI and Seeq? Well, it's kind of both, but I think more of an APERIO slant. So Katie Gates.
Yeah, good question. That wasn't highlighted in today's presentation, but DataWise for Seeq integration will make a daily channel DQI available in Seeq as a signal. So then you can aggregate that into a DQI for any group of channels, like the input to the yield report, for example, if there were multiple channels involved there.
That makes sense. Thank you. Katie Pintar, have one for you. How does a Seeq AI assistant trained?
Yeah, great question. So Seeq AI assistant, like many large language models, is trained on lots of pieces of data from the internet, and specifically for the Seeq AI assistant, stuff that's relevant for our users, which is industrial analytics in general, and then the Seeq tools and Seeq solutions that people like me, an analytics engineer at Seeq, have addressed in forums and other places where we have documentation about Seeq. So it has an industrial analytics knowledge base as well to draw from.
That makes sense. It's a topic of, what data those LMMs are trained on, things like that. Very interesting. On Seeq Vantage, Katie Pintar, to you, how do they get it? How do I get it?
Yeah, so Seeq Vantage is a new app that we just released earlier this year. And it's part of our industrial enterprise monitoring suite. So that's something that if you're interested, maybe you already have Seeq, you're interested in using something like Seeq Vantage to triage or prioritize many of those capsules that you've already created in Seeq. That's something if you already have Seeq to talk to your sales executive about. And if you don't have Seeq yet, certainly reach out to Seeq and we can discuss what type of use cases you're looking at for doing that industrial enterprise monitoring and looking over many different events that are happening across your enterprise.
That's great. A lot of buzz around that. It's good. All right, back to Katie Gates' APERIO question. How or does APERIO monitor all of your data, or do you sample prioritize critical data points?
Yeah, great question. I mean, you can monitor up to a million channels if you want to in APERIO, but it's configurable to monitor any set of data that you want. So not just those critical tags, we can monitor all of your data.
That makes sense. Yeah, just to prioritize that, how you can reflect that and hone in on exactly your more critical parts of your system. It's great. And this one is, I'm going to let both of you speak to this one. It's a good question. There is someone who has, our organization has both Seeq and APERIO. Awesome. Is it a feature we need to request if we want to pull DQEs from APERIO into Seeq? Like, what are you doing? So, Katie, I'll let you, Katie Gates, I'll let you talk first, and then Katie Pintar, maybe you could speak a little after that.
Sure, yeah. So we will need to work with you to configure the integration, work out the finer details, but we can get started on that now. So feel free to reach out to your either customer success team member or your sales executive, and we'd love to start working with you to get that set up. Katie Pintar, anything to add?
Yeah, and I would just add that, this would be similar to other data source connections where it's a one-time connection where we can start bringing in those data quality events as capsules. And then you'll just see those like any other piece of data in Seeq as capsules that you can use to mitigate and prioritize. So certainly something to reach out and start configuring that connection.
APERIO is a big fan of capsules, as you can tell. That's the foundational way that we'll translate that into. It all comes back to that. Big fans. So that is all the questions I have in the list here, unless there's any that come in. Not seeing any, but thank you for the very entertaining and informative Q&A. Katie's.
Thank you, and feel free to reach out if you have any additional questions that you didn't share today. sales@aperio.ai is happy to address those. We have a raised hand I saw. Maybe that was unintentional. Thank you so much for joining us today.